Today is the 2nd day of July, 2025. Clock on the wall says that it is 26 minutes past 8 o'clock in the morning. And this is the Morning Muse, kind of innovating a little bit here in that there's actually a live audience, which is unusual. The point of the Muse, I've discovered, has been it's a very powerful means of tuning the intuitive sense, is what it feels like. So the practice of speaking extemporaneously without rehearsal exposes what's actually going on in a way that simply does not occur for me when I imagine an audience ahead of time and then present. If I imagine the audience, then I'm speaking to that audience. That's not the point. So there's a bit of a disruption happening in this particular context because there's actually another live body. There's another human being here. So this is also occurring in the context of Mirth Mission 7. So the July instance, and the thematic material is from Mr. James P. Carse in Finite and Infinite Games. So this also obviously is not extemporaneous. I'm going to read one short paragraph for context and see what happens. So this is from page 67. I am the genius of myself, the poietes who composes the sentences I speak and the actions I take. It is I, not the mind, that thinks. It is I, not the will, that acts. It is I, not the nervous system, that feels. So that is the thematic material, textual thematic material for Mirth Mission 7 relies upon that particular text, that particular author's work. Why is that important now? Why is that coming into the frame? Notice the metaphor this morning. And it has to do with that training of the intuitive sense. So training implies, also points out, Mr. Carse also points out in that text how you can meaningfully divide all games into at least two different types of games, finite games and infinite games. So finite games are played to end the game. That's the point. So in order to end the game, there has to be a predefined, this is the end of the game, context. This is how you know that the game is over. So logically what follows from that is that all of the framing has to be predefined. All the rules are known, and generally speaking, there'll be something like a referee that's going to adjudicate when the participants in the game can't come to an agreement amongst themselves as to whether the rules were appropriately followed or not. So system of three had a minimum. Opponents and a referee. Finite games, on the other hand, are played to, as I understand it, there's two objectives. One is to keep the game going, that's most important. And then the second is to make the game more enjoyable for all of the constituents, all of the players. So if a finite player trains. So there's an association between training and known rules. You already know the outcome. And then there's practice. So an infinite player, someone who's interested in playing an infinite game or infinite games, practices at least more than trains. They're not mutually exclusive. So 5 minutes into the game construct of the Morning Muse here, I got 5 minutes remaining to play. So I need to come to the point. What is the point? Don't really know other than to train the intuitive sense to practice seeking wisdom, I suppose I'll say. And then to be honest after the fact, after the seeking, the particular vignette or instance of seeking, whether or not the objective was achieved. Well, how do you know if you are more wiser than before? How do you know anything? So the continuation of the play here this morning, the innovation, I don't know that I've done this before, so I need to give credit to another author that I rely upon for the mission constructs, Julia Cameron. And this is a little bit out of this morning's morning pages, which I am going to break her recommendation, or I'm not going to follow her recommendation. I'm actually going to read it out and publish it, which she says explicitly don't do that. So we'll see how this goes. Is that wise or no? So, do you understand the meaning? Can you fly? Yes, I can fly. There's a breeze among the blackberries and cherry. I know because I see the white petal dangling by a thread, a spider web, perhaps, reflecting dawn like a theodolite. I know. How do I see? Glorious flutter, feel the rudder when I fly. I see in part because I know the web, the spider's web. Walking through the web, I know before I see. I feel. Power of light, reflecting, glorious flutter. So the theodolite is not the proper reference, given the point that I was trying to make. So I have seen what I believe is a corresponding instrument to a theodolite that reflects light. I don't know the name of it. At least I'm unable to bring it to conscious awareness in this moment. But the point is that those very simple sentences that flow naturally, extemporaneously to conscious awareness in the crepuscular hours between dreaming and whatever the hardest part of the not dreaming part of any day is. Those words, those sentences, those simple call and response afford a glimpse if one chooses to look. So I can't really tell you how I practice, but I can show you. if you come play. Thank you for your very careful attention.